Hello again. And here we are, right? We are looking at our final mile, and I want to come and give you some advice in the last 7 to 10 days before the actual MPRE. By now, hopefully, you know who I am. If not, let me introduce yourself. My name is Chris Fromm. I'm kind of your tour guide in this MPRE program. And by now, you've probably had a chance, and if not, go back and get started now if you want, watching the lecture. And it's not just me standing there reading an outline to you, it's really interactive. I'm talking about where the big ticket items are. I'm trying to give you some context for the rules and some ways in which you're going to see it tested and ways to help you remember the law and certainly, hopefully, the correct answers. Now, some study tips for that final mile. I want to provide kind of a roadmap for where you should be going over these last 7 to 10 days. And really, what we need to do is study where the points are. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you know that the National Conference, right, the people who write the MPRE as well as the bar exam, have given us a roadmap as to what's tested and the percentage within each area that you are responsible for. So we know what is going to be tested, and we know how many questions in each of those areas are going to be tested. So the judicial canons are maybe 1 to 2 questions. Are we going to spend a lot of time there? No, I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at those, but when we're thinking about kind of time invested for points returned, we need to study where the points are. Conflicts, 12 to 18%. Client-lawyer relation, another 10 to 16%. Litigation and other forms of advocacy, 10 to 16%. So we're talking a minimum of a third to a half of the questions on the MPRE are going to come from those areas. I wouldn't exclusively study in those areas, but I would know those areas better than any other areas. What else would I have you do? I would look specifically at areas that require informed consent. And as you go back through, and you know the bar notes that you've been filling in while you were watching my lecture, if you do like a control F or, a find in that document, look for the word or the phrase informed consent. Because where it pops up, I want you to know, one, when it is available, and two, if it is available, what are the consequences of informed consent? And then, of course, what's the effect? As I said in the lecture, informed consent is a unicorn, right? It's rare because oftentimes when you tell a client, hey, here's the deal, they're not going to give you consent. I mean, yes, it's informed because now you've told them, but now they're aware of some conflict or some problem that may make you not be as good as if there wasn't a possible issue, right? So oftentimes informed consent isn't something that you get, but you can. I mean, you could be the best lawyer in the world and there could be some potential conflict that informed consent would clear up, but you need to have it. Now, remember, and I would asterisk this one, the one place where you absolutely cannot have informed consent is I could be the best civil attorney in the world, but I can't simultaneously, right, bring the plaintiff's case and defend the defendant in the same suit. That's one where informed consent would be an absolute trap. But most everywhere else, informed consent is that rare unicorn that can pop up. And I want you to know the consequences, the requirements, and then, of course, the effects. So I would look specifically at or for informed consent in my notes. And then the comments to the actual model rules of professional conduct. Do I want you to go back and read all of the comments? No, I have. And in putting together this program, we at Kaplan have as well. Therefore, I think we've done that work for you. But nonetheless, if there are some areas like conflicts, like client-lawyer relation, like litigation and other forums, where there's a lot of questions going to be tested, maybe go back and look at the comments. Because the comments, I think, do two things really well, right? First, they provide further explanation of the actual rules, which is good. And oftentimes they give you factual scenarios that may pop up on the exam. And then two, if you look at the released online practice exam, that's what an OPE is, right? The National Conference has released a sample MPRE exam. If you look at the answer explanations, you will see in the credited response, the explanation to it, a heavy reliance on the comment section from the model rules of professional conduct. So I think that the exam is getting its law from there, but also maybe they're getting some fact patterns from there. So maybe go back and look in those three big areas, but I'm not telling you to go buy the online practice exam. We've scoured it for what's tested, how it's tested, and the law that you're going to need. So I feel that we have you covered in that sense. But my point in talking about that online practice exam is simply that it's a place where the examiners can and oftentimes do in the comment section find the law that they're going to test you on. And then finally, in looking at that online practice exam itself, you can see the length, the style, the format of the questions. We have tried to model the length, the style, and the format of those questions. And if you look at most of them, they are a single paragraph in length, which doesn't make them easy. It means that every single word is going to be important. So reading comprehension, above all else, my friends, is critical. Now, how do we maximize our time? Well, first, let's look at our resources. What is available to you? After each segment of the video of the online program that you have for the MPRE, you will see an opportunity to test your knowledge. And you can do it immediately after, or you can do it later on. Let me show you. This is what your online syllabus looks like, right? Under that study tab, off to the left, you see opportunities to test your knowledge. And if you drill down in each of the 12 modules, you will see something that looks like this. You can do multiple choice questions, which is great. You can also work with our continuing hypothetical for spotting issues, which is great. And then, I think most importantly, you can take a practice test. Simulations and practice tests are critical, my friends, but you got to use them the right way. So first, I want you to take one, and then I want you to review it. This is going to tell you how you did, where you got them right, where you got them wrong. You can scroll down and you can get explanations for why your answer was wrong or why the correct answer was so. That's important. Now, remember, when you are doing this, you also have the opportunity to watch me do a review of those questions as well. And I'm going to point out and highlight a lot of good law and testing tips throughout. So you can either do this on your own, or you can do it with me, or you can do both. Quick sheets. Quick sheets are kind of a down and dirty, last-minute, big-ticket items approach that you should be looking at. Those should be posted on your online syllabus, or they will be done in the next few days. So look for those quick sheets, a real nice, quick way to review big-ticket areas. And then finally, I think one of the most important resources in the last few days is just drilling into questions. And I want you to go to the QBank. I want you to drill down topically. Let me show you. Here is the QBank, right, on your syllabus. It's under the Study tab. You click on QBank, and you will see off to the left an opportunity where you can do questions in any particular area, or you can do questions in areas that you are weak in, or questions in areas that you are responsible for, maybe as we saw earlier, client confidentiality or litigation and other forms. We saw, 10 to 16% of the questions. Why not think about time invested for points returned? Do questions in areas where it's the highest yield. And then, of course, I want you to vary the questions because you need to improve your knowledge specifically in an area of weakness that's heavily tested, but you also need to work on skill generally, reading comprehension, timing. Those are both going to be covered by doing questions in the QBank. Now, next up, my friends, is the bar exam. And if you are thinking about the bar exam next year or maybe even this year and you liked the MPRE program that you've gone through thus far, think about Kaplan because we have detailed explanations for every single multiple choice question that we cover. And by the way, we have over 4,000 multiple choice questions. And if you like the quiz bank that you're looking at for the MPRE, you're going to love our unlimited essay bank with essays from past bar exams. You're also going to have lectures, myself included, and other experts in not just the substance but also the skill for the bar exam that you can watch from anywhere. You can watch it live, you can watch a live stream, and you can watch it on demand. My friends, We have put a plan in place for you. Your job now is to work the plan. Go in there confidently and get that score that you need, and then we'll see you for bar prep. Good luck.